Hello, my name is Nandy Soccer, and I am here to talk about Dragon Age lore. We are going to talk today about the Divines. We're gonna kickstart this by talking about Divine Justinia I. She was the first Divine ever, appointed by Cordelis Draken himself, which marked the Divine Age. Before being a Divine, she was a badass warrior lady, and she was a very devout Andrastian. That's why her name was the Warrior Priest. Her version of the Chant of Light has survived with the fewest changes until this day. Divine Joyous II. She came into divinity amidst tensions within and without the winter. The major issue she had to deal with the infamous magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him. So outside of the winter, like in Orlais, this was taken quite literally, so mages were out of everything, out of rule, out of government, can't own a land and everything. But in the winter, this was different. Magic was revered. The mages had the most powerful positions in the Imperium. So what Joyous II did was she asked the winter to get in line with Orlais, and the mages should step down from position, and the winter was like,
"Oh, hell no!"
which led the Divine to declare Tevinter clergy as heretics. This led to bad blood between Tevinter and Orlais, which was known as the Schism of 387, where Tevinter completely broke out of the Orlesian chantry and got their own Divine. Divine Rosamond. Rosamond was one of her names. Her real name was Lilette Montbliard. She was one of the granddaughters of Queen Aisha. She was groomed to be divine since her childhood by her predecessor Divine Hortensia II. She was a revered mother by the age of 19, crowned by the age of 20, and she was the youngest divine in the chantry history. Reigned for 55 years, she was most compassionate and gentle of all the divines. Despite all of this, sadly, she was subject to Rule 34.
Giggity.
Which meant a lot of Orlesians showed off and boasted about having erotica art and literature about Rosamond. So the Knight Divine tried to eradicate the materials, but obviously they failed. So instead of this, they tried to shelter Rosamond from it, and it worked. Divine Rosamond lived and died without knowing about the fantasies of the Orlesians. Damn Orlesians.
What's wrong with you people?
Divine Ambrosia II, she tried to have an exalted march against her own cathedral because the mages barricaded themselves inside. Divine Galatea. She was a commoner, which was uncommon in the chantry. She was never a revered mother, chosen by the Maker when the elections came to a halt in 283 Glory. She granted the right of annulment to purge the mages. Divine Innocente. In 299 Glory, she had a new palace, the Grand Cathedral of Val Royeaux, and declared that the Chant of Light has to be sung all day long so the faithful would always hear and rest his message. She also got to name the Tower Age in honor of the two towers of the Grand Cathedral. Divine Beatrix I. She declared the Black Age and called for a retribution against the winter because they declared the death of Divine Joyous II a holy day, and honestly, can you blame them? The Exalted March didn't happen until 440 Black, as everyone was trying to recover from the Third Blight. Her reign was full of fear-mongering to winter. Divine Amara III reigned in 571 Exalted under suspicious conditions. She was the sister of the new elected Emperor Alphonse, and she was never a revered mother. She was brutal. Some says that she enjoyed bonfires fueled by burning maleficarum. Died in 585 in, again, suspicious circumstances. Her brother led a hunt for conspirators that resulted in the imprisonment of several revered mothers and the execution of 3. Still, until this day, we don't know what happened to Divine Amara III. Theodosia II. It is said that she gave birth while ascending the steps of the Grand Cathedral, and she was removed from the seat shortly after. And we are going to finish this by talking about our beloved Divine Justinia V. She was one of the most progressive divines in the history of the Chantry. She tried as much as she can to diffuse the tensions between the mages and the Templars, and she actually called for peace talks in the Temple of Sacred Ashes. I wonder, how did this end? She gained as many enemies as she did supporters. So this was me talking dragon age lore. Maybe next time we talk about something else. Thank you for listening and see you next time.